Hello guys, it is Shivam here. Welcome back to part 3 of our awesome Flutter chat app series where we are developing the complete real-time chat app from scratch. On today's video, I will add the complete Flutter Firebase authentication and will also upload the user data to Firebase Firestore. So if you are loving this awesome chat app series, then do not forget to subscribe our channel so that you didn't miss out on the upcoming tutorials and exciting content we have in the store. So let's get started. Now let's move to the signup.dart file and I will add a few lines of code here to allow the user to sign up in the app and move directly to the home page. Basically, I will write 4 string here, namely name, email, password and confirm password. You might be thinking that why I am using a string here. The reason for using string is that whenever user enter the text in this text field, like for an example, if the user enter the text in the name text field, then we will get that text that the user enter in the text field in our name string, and then we will use that string to provide the authentication to the user into the app. So I'm writing text editing controller mail controller equals to new text editing controller. Now I'll create the same text controller for other 3 text field. So it is done. Now I will write a registration function here. Basically, when the user will click on the sign up button, then we will call the registration function and allow the user to sign up into the app. So let me write the few lines of code for this function. So it is done. Now you might be thinking what all things I have wrote here, like I have used a global key, form state, and what all things I have wrote inside the registration function. Basically, I have explained all these things in my one of my video where I told about these things in more detail. I will don't repeat all these things here because then this video will become very long for the user to watch. I will recommend you to go and watch that video where I have told a complete Firebase authentication using email and password and explained you each line what I have wrote here. So now let's move to the column widget and we'll wrap up a column widget with a form widget and provide a key here. So I'm writing key, form key, and writing text form field controller will provide mail controller and validator. Basically, I want to tell you the reason why I am using validator here. Basically, it checks the value if it is null or empty. If the value is null or empty, it will pass a text that please enter your mail here. Let me also change the icon of name here because it shows exactly what we have used in the email section. So I am writing icons.person outline. As you can see, person icon has been come here. Now I'll write text form field and we'll copy the same controller and paste it here. So sorry, I'd make a small mistake. I've used a mail controller inside a name text field. So let me rename the mail controller with a name controller here. So now let me add the controller and validator to each text field. So it is done. Now let's move to the sign up button and we'll call a registration function here. So if form key dot current state dot validate, basically I am using a form key dot current state dot validate function here because so that I wrote validator on each text field. So if each text field return us that there is some text has written on each text field like name, email, password, confirm password, then it will go to the set state method and will rename the each string here. So email equals to mail controller dot text and same for the name, password and confirm password. And at last we'll call a registration function if all the validator case is true. But before that we need to upload the user data to the Firebase Firestore. So I'm creating a map string and dynamic naming a map userInfo map. Let me explain you why I am using a map here. Basically map is a key value pair. So basically our key is something on string like name, email, password, ID, photo, etc. And dynamic is something where we can pass anything like string, integer, float, double, anything. So I'm writing name and we are writing name controller.text. So basically name is a string here and name controller.text is a dynamic here. Name controller.text gets the name from the text field in the text form and pass to the string name here. Basically we need a username here. The reason for uploading the username is that because we need to provide a specific username to each user here. So they can be justified with the specific username here. So each user have their own specific username. So I'm writing here mail controller dot text dot replace all at the rate gmail.com and will replace this with a space. Let me explain you what really this command does. So when I am writing a mail like shivam234 at the rate gmail.com, so this command will remove at the rate gmail.com and replace with a space we have provided here. So your username will become shivam234. Now we'll provide a picture of the user here. So basically I am uploading some random picture of the user here in the form of a link so that whenever we call the picture from the server, then so it will easy for us to use image.network function to call the image in our app. Though now we are giving a specific picture to a user, but after sign up into the app, user can change their picture and can add any picture they want. So as you can see, I have pasted some link here. Now let me press on this link, and as you can see, a random user image has been shown here, and this image will show when the user sign up into the app, but they can change when they want. Now I will create a string id. Basically I want to provide some random id to the user, because when we will track the user details in Firebase, then we just need this ID so that it will be easy for us to track the user detail in Firebase. But before that, we need to add a package name random string here. Basically, random string provide a random alphanumeric character to a string. So string id is equals to random alphanumeric 10, and we'll paste same id here. So I'll write id and we'll call the same id. Now we need to create a file name database.dart where we call all the function from that file, and we'll upload the data to the Firebase Firestore. Let me show how we will do that. So, but before that, I am creating a new folder named service here, and inside the service folder I will create a file name database.dart. I will write class name database methods. Basically in this project I will write all the function related to the Firebase in class name database methods here. The reason for doing that, if I will write all the function in the same page, then it will be easy for the user to change the function they want in their way. For now, if the user write all the function at the same place where they are calling a map, then it will become something messy for the user to change the function according to their way. I'm writing future add user detail, and will create a map string dynamic, and in string we will pass a specific id that we have wrote using a random alphanumeric function. Now Firebase Firestore dot instance dot collection, and we'll give a collection name users here. We will give a specific id to the doc here. So we'll write doc id, and we'll use a set method to upload our map to Firebase Firestore. So it is done. Now let me call this function here. So I will write await database methods dot add user detail and will pass the user info map and that ID here. So this function will help the user to upload the data to Firebase Firestore. Now, one more thing I want to tell you that we want to save the user data locally too. The reason for saving the user data locally is that we need user name, email, and his picture and ID again and again. Now, to get the all the data, we need to save some of the data locally, so we don't have to call the function again and again and get the data from the server. So to save the data, I am using a package name share preference here, which allow us to save the data locally in our Flutter app. So I'm creating a new file name shared pref.dart, where we will write all the code related to the shared preference. Now let's move to the shared pref.dart file and we'll create a class name shared preference helper here, and inside that basically I am writing a string name user id key where we will save the specific id that we are giving to each user here, and we will create other string also, name, email, username, user's picture. Now we need to save the user data locally. So we'll call a function name save user ID here. So we will write a function name save user ID here, and in string we will get the user ID, shared preferences pref await shared preference await share preference dot get instance. Now using the pref key we will save the user data here. Now using the pref key will set a string. So first we are writing a string name here. So I am writing user id key and we will save the id to a user id key. So I am writing the string name get user id here. Now I will write the other function for all the other strings like name, email. So this was the method where we are saving the user detail. Now we want to also show the user detail. So we'll use a get user ID function to show the user detail in our app that we have stored locally in our app. So we'll write the same command share preferences pref await share preferences dot get instance. Now we'll get the string from the user ID key. I forgot to mention the user display name. Let me add that string too. So it is done. Now let's move and we'll use a save method to save all the user data locally in our Flutter app. So I'm writing await shared preferences helper dot save user ID and we'll pass the ID here. We'll write same function for other strings too. In save user pic, we'll paste the same link of the image. So it is done. Now let's move to the terminal and run our app. So I am writing Flutter clean here. Now Flutter pub get to get all the packages in our app. Now Flutter run command. Now press enter. Wait for a few seconds. So as you can see, our app has launched successfully. Now I will call sign up page here. So let me write sign up in main.file and hot restart. So now I'll fill name, email, password and confirm password and will sign up into the app. So in name, I'm writing the username here. So I'm writing Shivam Gupta. Inside mail, I'm writing shivam2345 at the rate gmail.com. I'm writing password here. And same password in confirm password. So it is done. Now click on the sign up button, wait for a few seconds. But before clicking on the sign up button, we need to push the user to the home page. So I am using navigator.push replacement here. Let me explain you why I don't hear navigator.push here. If I use navigator.push here, then if the user sign up into the app and goes to the home page, when they click on the back button, then the user can easily come to the sign up page again. But if you use a push replacement, then once the user sign up and goes to the home page, then there is no choice to come back to the sign up page. Now click on the sign up button, wait for a few seconds. So as you can see, we have registered successfully and moved to the home page of the app. Now let's move to the Firebase and let me show you what all things are uploaded to the Cloud Firestore. So let me refresh the page. After refreshing the page, you can see the collection name users here and with a specific doc ID and email, ID, name, photo and username what we have entered in the sign up page. As you can see, the username is Shivam234. What I have told you there that the app will remove @gmail.com from the email and will name it to Shivam234. Now let's move to the sign in.dart file and add the few lines of code so the user can sign in into the app. So we will use two string name, email and password here. The reason for using email and password, as I told you before, so whenever the user will enter the email using a text editing controller, then we'll get the text from the text field and will save the text into the these two strings. Now text editing controller user mail controller equal to new text editing controller. The reason for using text editing controller is that we can manage whatever the user write on this text field using a text editing controller. Basically, whenever the user type the email or password in this text field, then we can handle the text using this text controller. Now I will write a function name user login. So whenever the user click on the signing button, then the user login function will be called and the user can successfully sign in into the app and will move to the home page of the app. So let me write the few lines of code into this function. So it is done. Now I will write a global key here. Now we'll go to the column and wrap up the column widget with a form widget and we'll give the key name form key. Now we'll write text form field and we'll give the controller user mail controller and we'll write the same validator that we wrote on the sign up page. So if value is null or empty, we'll return that Please enter your email. Now we'll copy the same thing and we'll paste in the password text field. So I'm writing text form field and will rename the controller to user password controller. Validator will be same, just will rename the text and write please enter password. So it is done. Now let's move to the signing button and we'll wrap up the signing button with a gesture detector and we'll call the user login function there. So in if condition, I will write form key dot current state dot validate what we have wrote on the sign up page. The reason for using is that we will check the each test field through a validator and will check that if it is null or empty. If we found that all the text fields are filled with a text, then we will move to the set state and will pass each text field text into the specific string. So I am writing email is equals to user mail controller dot text. Now in email string what the user have wrote in the email text field that will be assigned to the email string. So user mail controller will handle the case of that text field and dot text will get that text from the specific text field and assign to the email string here. And same for the password. So it is done. Now we'll call a user login function here. But before move to the sign up page and sign in into the app, I will write a few lines of code in the user login function. So inside the so after calling the sign in with email and password function inside the user login function, we want that the user details to be saved in the shared preferences because as I told you before, we need the username, email, username again and again into the app. So if the user is login into the app, then we'll call the user details from the server and will save the each detail into the shared preference. For example, if I want to save the user name here, then I will first call the username from the server and will save the username into the shared preference, then will sign in into the app. So this will be done through a dot where function where we will match a user email with the server what the user have entered in the email text field. I hope that you can understand what I am trying to say here. For beginners, it will be difficult for them to understand what I am trying to say here, but no problem. As you will write a code by your own into the studio code, then you will get what all things I have used here inside the user logging function, and I will try it to make it more easy for the beginners to understand in the basic level. So now let's move to the database.dat file and I will write a function name get user by email. So future query snapshot get user by email string id Firebase Firestore.instance.collection.users. Now inside the collection users we will match the user email here what they have entered in the email text field. So I am using dot where function to find the user email in the server. So in string I will write, I will pass the email here and will match with the email. We'll get that user detail using .get function. Now I'll write query snapshot await database methods dot get user by email, and we'll pass the email here. So in string I am writing a name, username and picture id. The reason for adding this string is because when I call the user name and pick from the server, then I need a specific location to store that string into a specific string. So for that I need to create a string here. So whenever we call the user detail from the server, then I will use this string to save that text in this string. So to call that function I am using a name string here equals to query snapshot dot docs. One more thing I want to tell you, that whenever you are writing the field inside the inverted comma, then it should be exact what you have entered on the Firebase Firestore. It should match what the field that is there. If there will be any difference between these two texts, then it will throw the error here. So make sure whenever you are writing a text in the inverted comma, then it should be exact what the field you have entered in the Firebase Firestore. I saw that many of the developers are making a small mistake in like capital and small letter and not using the exact field what they have entered on the Firebase Firestore, and they are wasting so much time to find that problem where they are not getting the detail from the server. So this was the small tips from my side, and these tips will only get you in this channel. So don't forget to subscribe this channel. Now I will save the each user detail using a shared preference helper dot save user display name, and will pass the name string here. Now I will save the each user detail here using a shared preference helper. Now many of the users might be thinking that why we are saving the user details locally, as the details are already saved into the server. As we move more into the app, and when I will write the code for the home page and chat page, you will see that we will be calling a too much detail from the shared preferences, and shared preferences will help us to get the user detail in more easy way rather than calling from the server each time. So in email section I am writing the email here. Now I'll use the same password that I have used to sign up into the app. Now click on the signing button, wait for a few seconds. So as you can see, we have successfully signed in into the app and we have moved to the home page. So it is done. Now let me perform hot restart again and move to the sign in page. The reason for I am moving to the sign in page again is that whenever the user will write an email and they have forgot the password, then they will click on the forget password text and move to the forget password screen where they can change the password from there. So now we'll create a new file name forgetpassword.dart here and we'll write the complete UI and the code for the forgot password screen. So I will create a stateful widget name forgot password, as the forgot password will be same according to the signing page. At the top we will replace the sign in text with a password recovery and log in to your account with the enter your email, and we'll use a single text field to enter the email of the password they had forgot. Then we'll use a button to get the password email into their email they have entered here. Instead of writing the UI for the forgot password again, I will copy the complete code from the signing page and paste on the forgot password.dart file and will rename the few text there. Sorry, but I am using some of the shortcuts to write a forgot password screen. Is that if I will code a complete code of forgot password, then it will take a lot of time. So I will copy the code from the signing.dart file and will paste in the forgot password screen and will make the customization according to our choice. Being a developer, I always used to do a smart work rather than a hard work. We will paste the code here and let me remove some of the key from here, and I am writing text editing controller because I want a single text field where the user will enter the email. So I will remove a password text field from here. We'll also remove the forgot password text. So let me call the forgot password screen in main.dart file and I will show you what all customization I have done. So as you can see, a single text field email has been shown here. Now I'll rename the signing to the password recovery. We'll also rename the text login to your account to enter your email. We'll also make the container smaller in size. Now I'll rename the signing button to send email. Let me also explain you how the password recovery will work. Basically, for an example, if the user have forgot their email, then they will click on the forgot password text and move to the password recovery screen. Now inside the email text field, they will enter the email of the password they had forgot. After clicking on the send email button, they will get a link of the Firebase into their email they have entered here. Now, after clicking to that link, they will redirect to a screen where they can assign a new password to this email. So for that, I need to add the few lines of code here. So again, we'll write a string, namely email here. Now we'll create a global key again so that we can text the validator in the text field. So we'll pass a key name, form key. Now I will write a function name reset password here, and this will be called when the user will click on the send email button. So let me add the few lines of code here. So it is done. Now let's move to the send email button and we'll write a few lines of code inside the gesture detector. So in if condition we'll write the same thing what we have wrote in the sign up and signing page, and we'll again use a set state method. Now inside the set state method we'll pass a text controller to a email string. Now we'll call a reset password function here. So it is done. Now let me perform hot restart function. So for an instance, if I had forgot this email password, so I will click on the forgot password text and move to the password recovery screen, and will write the same email here, and will click on the send email button and wait for a few seconds. So as you can see, password reset email has been sent. Now let me check my email here. So as you can see, I have got a link to reset my password. So let me click to that link and I will redirect to a page where I can assign a new password. So let me write a new password here and click on save button. Now, so as you can see, now I can sign in with my new password into the app. So this is it from this video where I taught you complete Firebase authentication. On our next video, we will add the backend for the complete home page and chat page where the two users can have the real-time chat. So don't miss out on the upcoming tutorials and exciting content we have in store. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Join our community of learners and creators and let's continue this coding adventure together. So keep coding, keep having fun. Until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.